May 8th, 2023. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart on the NinjaTrader 8 platform. This is how the chart looked like today. I only have one indicator, which is the 21 EMA, and then the rest of these are generated by me. I just draw these trend lines and trading ranges. You don't have to listen or watch this entire video. If you're just curious where I took trades or where I thought I saw setups, just go down to the descriptions. You can see the timestamps, maybe compare it to where you thought you saw setup. And so the chart looked like this today. It looked like it was mainly in this gigantic trading range. The bottom kind of was respected a little bit more than the top, because the top, I had this midline drawn. So this orangey area is kind of the larger trading range formed from the highs of the pre-market and the lows of the pre-market. So the bottom, it kind of touched like 2-3 times, confirmed. Then it broke through. And then the tops, it didn't really confirm, except it never really confirmed, actually. And then the midline, it did kind of look like there was some kind of reaction at the midline. The trading volume was actually really, really low today. And it made trading kind of, well, in my opinion, it was kind of tough today, even though it was slow. It's just there wasn't much happening. The setups didn't form. And also the setups, when they did form, it took a little while to play out, which makes it anxious, made me anxious. So I took 4 trades today. This first one right here was a green. This one was red, another red, and then this one was a green. So essentially I'm just 50-50. I'm going to try to go through the trades pretty quickly today. There wasn't that many trades actually. And then this last trade, I think, was, even though I got a green on it, it wasn't really a good setup. I should have waited for confirmation. And so we're just going to go ahead and go through the trades right now. In the pre-market, there wasn't much price action. This is gray area, this pre-market. I did see, but I wasn't around to take this trade. I did see a decent setup as a new high, first entry long, comes up, pulls back, second entry long. This one's a pretty good entry because this trend channel going up is confirmed. Depending on how you counted it, I counted at least 3 times confirmation, once, twice, 3 times, and this would be the 4th time. There's a pretty good signal bar, bounced right off the EMA. There's plenty of room up to the midline as well as the top of the trading range. So if this set up during regular hours, I think I would have taken this trade. Then markets opened. It kind of pretty much before it even opened, it was already trending down. And so when I got to my desk, I noticed that this is probably a trading range just based off of this, because it had this coming up, and this is what you see before the market opens. So it kind of looks like this. Yes, it could trend up, continuing, but it looks like it's coming back down. So the prices opened. The first setup I saw was right here. Is a new low. Let me go ahead and zoom in. New low. First entry short breaks below this candle, and there's a second entry short when it breaks below this candle. It's kind of offset a little bit. So here's the signal bar. Now it's a signal bar that's kind of like bullish. It closed above the EMA. It just doesn't look bearish enough for me to feel confident taking a second entry short. It closed above the EMA. I just said, if I saw this, I'm going to wait for a lower high confirmation. Lower high confirmation shows up right here, makes 1 tick just above. So this is a possible trade. It is having the EMA holding prices down, which is this blue line. Excuse me. It engulfed. It's kind of like a bearish candle that engulfed the previous candle. So it is a pretty decent setup. And just move the label a little bit. Had I taken this trade, I think I would have put it 1 tick below, so about 41.50.75, where this crosshairs is. I would have gotten filled, and looks like I would have had enough to get scalped out. And if I was concerned, it would have definitely gotten me the profit here. I also like that there was kind of like a third touch, because if you count this as 1, 2, there definitely is a third touch here. Or if you group this as 1, then you could say at least 2 and maybe a third touch with the lower high. So it was a pretty decent setup. Prices continue moving down. I don't see any good clean setups, and I'm just watching prices. It breaks above the EMA. I draw this channel going down. I originally was thinking of this way, and it broke out, pushed above once, made a second attempt, so it's already 2 pushes up. So I'm thinking you should test this. So it kind of gave a little bit more reinforcement that this lower high was going to actually see prices come back down. So it was like key entry point off this trend channel, and then another key entry point, which is EMA. It's a pretty decent signal bar, and overall bearish momentum coming down. So then prices continue moving down, chops around. It touches the bottom of this orange channel. So it's once, twice, three confirmations now. Now, technically, I did see this after the fact, though, that this is a new high. If you skip this and just count this as one leg down, first push up, pulls back, second push up. Now, the problem with this setup is this bar is too neutral. It's too doji-ish. If it closed a little bit higher, then I would have seen it as a global or visual first entry long, then a second entry long. I think I might have taken that trade because there's enough room to scalp out. But since it closed too doji, just pretty much closed and opened at the same price, I didn't feel confident in it. Let it go. Price continued chopping around. This is where I see another entry. I saw a new high here. First entry long. Now this is setting up potentially for second entry long. This candle or this bar did close near the top, but it just also seems doji-ish. It is bouncing off the bottom of this channel here. And this is kind of where the lows have been held by these previous moves. Also, I noticed it was kind of like a measured move off this orange candle, one leg down, pull back, second leg. So this telling me like there could be a trade here, except I was a little concerned that this signal bar wasn't, if it closed more toward the top or just a little bit more meat on it, because this candle is about, it's only about, from the highs to the lows, it's only 5 ticks. So I wanted to see a little bit more on the candle. So if I did enter, it would be right here. Turns out it would have worked out really well, would have pretty much pulled you in and then give you the profit. Definitely, depending if you're going for 2 points, it would have given you your 2 points up here. Then it kind of confirmed this trading range up here because I saw 2 touches, plus potentially a third one here. But this is a little bit iffy. But I thought it's still a pretty good indicator as a trading range. Prices continue chopping around, moves up and out, and just kind of zoom out a little bit. It forms this ascending channel and then breaks out. I'm wondering if it's going to push up once to test this previous high. It pushes up once. So it's one leg down. Now it's potentially making a second leg down. So I saw kind of 2 clean legs down. And I saw, okay, this is potentially setting up for second entry long, except it's below the EMA, which I don't really like. It makes the break above this previous candle. So you officially have a first entry long, and now you have a second entry long. But the close on this didn't look very good. So now I'm actually thinking the other way. I'm thinking potentially this midline is acting as a trading range. So it's kind of like a 2-level trading range, one here and then the second one up here. And so when I saw this, I didn't mark it yet, but I was thinking it's going to be a failed second entry long. So I entered right here. So when this one flashed down, it broke below this double bottom. You can see my entries right here where that little purple arrow is. This is the first trade that I actually take because I think there's going to be enough room to kind of move back down. Maybe one push down, pull up, second push down, and then pulls up again. But at this time it fails, so I'm thinking this could actually be one big leg down. So I enter right here, and it fills me right here. So it's my first trade. It was green, and I thought, excuse me, the other driving force I mentioned before is the EMA is holding prices down. Excuse me. And I also saw this as a potential fail breakout. So fail breakout, overshoot. So it's going to push up once, push up twice. Now, when there's a fail breakout, it's kind of, you have to be a little more careful taking a trade in a direction counter to where that overshoot was, especially if it hasn't reached the bottom. So if I were to take a second entry long here, that's kind of counter to what the overshoot is, because the overshoot, it usually has enough power maybe to make it back to the bottom. So that's how come I was thinking failed second entry. So this first trade, it worked out pretty well. Prices continue down. I saw a new low, first entry short, but I didn't touch the bottom. Then I'm looking for a second entry short, but I never get it till I get it about here. This is a second entry short, so it's from new low here, first entry short, second entry short. I didn't like the second entry short the way it looked because it kind of made 2 legs up now. And although it closed and it made the official second entry short, if I were to take a trade, I'd either have to put it right here or right here, and that something just didn't quite look right. If I did put it down here, I wouldn't have gotten filled on this candle. I wouldn't have gotten filled here, and then by now, I think it would have been too choppy, but what I saw was first entry short, second entry short, and when I saw this higher low, I said, well, this is a failed second entry short right here, because it's a second entry short officially, then it fails on this candle. It comes back down. I'm thinking a higher low just formed, though it actually might be reversing back up. So I kind of changed my bias again. And so I saw it as a confirmation, but I am running into the midline of that trading range, the larger one. It did make two legs up and it broke this shortened trend channel. So broke, closed outside. I'm thinking it's going to test the high. But in hindsight, there was a conflicting idea that this could be a failed breakout again, because it's a failed breakout here. This could have been a failed breakout and it could be coming back down. Nevertheless, I took the trade thinking it was going to go back up. So here's where I entered, pretty much right at the tip of this guy. It goes up, it looks like it's going to work, then it flashes down. I haven't been stopped out yet because my exit is one tick below this green guy. And right here, I get stopped out. So you can you can barely see it, but there's a little magenta arrow right here, which is actually about one tick below here, but I think I've lost a little bit due to, no, I actually got filled one tick below. So that's my second trade, one green, one red. Prices continue moving down. And I saw a new high here, first entry long, second entry long. And I saw a second entry long here. And when it came down, I just, I think I was thinking I wanted to get that trade back. And I was thinking this could be a failed second entry long. So when this formed, I thought, okay, definitely the second entry long has failed. Excuse me. The trigger bar, this wasn't a very good signal bar. If it closed a little bit lower, I would have taken it probably on this trigger bar. So then I waited for the trigger bar to close. And it kind of closed iffy, so I decided to enter on this next bar right here. So I actually put my entry one tick below the trigger bar, which is this purple arrow here. The problem is I was impatient. I didn't really wait, and so I just entered, right? And this one ends up closing above where I entered. That made me a little nervous. And I'm just thinking there's probably going to be a move back all the way down to the bottom, at least even to here. There's enough room potentially to at least scalp out. And I was hoping to actually make it all the way down to here. But I had all these kind of, excuse me, I had all these ideas, but I didn't really think this could have been one leg up, pull back, and then a second leg up. So right here, it flashes up, and lo and behold, it takes out my exit one tick above. So it takes me out, and then it chops around and finally goes in the direction that I wanted. So I was early on this trade. And unfortunately, I think due to the price action, the volume was slow. And when I already noticed the trade, I should have just been more conservative and wait for a really strong setup because this one was kind of iffy. Look for probably a lower high confirmation because I saw first entry long, second entry long failure. It failed above the EMA though. Excuse me. It's set up above and it's kind of close to the EMA. Looking for a, excuse me, a lower high. I wouldn't have gotten it because this one actually made a higher high, and that probably would have kept me out of the trade. Prices continue moving down, chops around, it's in this trading range. Prices are really, really slow now because you can tell from here to about here is 1 hour, and there's not 60 candles, even if one candle printed per minute. Continues chopping, and the same thing right here. From here to about here is another 60 minutes, but there aren't 60 candles. So tells you just kind of how low the volume was today. Prices continue moving down. I already had 2 losses after my 1 win, but I don't see any good entry. This would have been a great trade if you could have found a way to get on it, because I saw maybe a new high here, but there's nothing here. Maybe a new low, first entry short, second entry short, third entry short, fourth entry short. Even if you reset the count from here, first entry short to second entry short, you restart the count here as a new low, triple bottom. You say new low here, first entry short, second entry short. What really tells you that this is a good entry, that this would have happened? Not much. So this is more like if you just kind of rolled the dice and you were having to be on the trade, this would have worked out great. But unfortunately, that's not a really good viable strategy. Prices continue moving down. I saw a new low here, first entry long. So, excuse me, first entry short, 1 leg up push, pull back, second leg up. So I saw first entry short, and I'm looking for a second entry short. And I'd really like a second entry short failure here, but a second entry short doesn't show up until right here. So that's already too far for this move. Would have been perfect is if this is a first entry short, pulls up, second entry short forms here, then it fails. Then I would have been on that trade. Unfortunately, this is only the first break, and you're looking for a second break, and it doesn't show up till here. Now it feels way too late because you're already testing the highs, the previous highs. So it's definitely not something you want to take. It's too far from the EMA. Just if it formed down here, it would have been perfect. The price continues chopping around. It forms and falls into the smaller shortened trend channel. Looks like it's kind of a spike in a channel, but doesn't look very clean. It's just really, really tiny candles at this point. Comes back down and falls into this trading range. I did see like a new high here, first entry long, second entry long. And I was tempted to maybe think that this was worth a trade. But when this bar closed, it was too doji-ish. And I already remember from back here, my previous trades where, I had these pretty much doji candles, like even this one, I should stay away. So I kind of, especially on the second trade, where this is also my signal bar was this thing. I decided I was just going to leave that alone. Turns out that kind of saved me because first entry, even though it bounced off the EMA, it wasn't enough to get even a 1 point scalp, really. The prices continue chopping, moves down, and kind of moves into the close. Let's see. Oh, excuse me. This was my, I took a trade here. Let's see, moves into the close. I think I discussed it, but it was a first entry long. So it was a lower high. I didn't get, let me just go back in. I don't remember if I discussed this trade. First entry short, second entry short, look for a higher low. I found it, and I actually entered a little early. This is not a good trade. I was early on this trade for sure because I saw 4 candles. Yeah, I didn't talk about this trade. So I saw a new low, first entry short, second entry short. Now when I saw this, I saw these previous 4 candles were all pushing against the top of this trading range. And I suspected there's going to be a lot of stop orders right here from shorts that jumped in, like first entry short. They're thinking it's going to move back down to the other side of the trading range, which is a good idea. I mean, it's a valid interpretation of the chart. So I actually went reverse and I said, I'm going to put my entry 1 tick above because if it hits it, most likely it's going to have stop orders hit and flash me up. This isn't really a good clean setup. When I saw this, I put it here. I got filled, but I never got my order processed to exit. So I was still in the trade. When it came back down, I knew this wasn't a very good trade. The higher low shows up here, double bottom here. So I actually should have waited for a higher low to confirm the failed second entry short instead of just on the hunch, because I'm also at the top of this trading range. And the top of the trading range, failed breakouts usually fail, and there's nothing to say that this price couldn't come back down to here. So on this trade, I think I was actually lucky that I got a profit. So this is like the second green trade. So it's like green trade, red trade, and then a green trade. So kind of like I'm 50-50 on my accuracy, but this wasn't a good setup. I should have actually just left this alone because I was able to get out right here, but this just happened to be by chance that I was able to get out with a profit. So that wasn't a very good trade. So that's how I saw the charts today. Overall, it was kind of a choppy day, very low volume. I found it, in hindsight, difficult, and in real time, I found it to be slow, which should have told me I should have been a little more conservative and sat more on my hands. So hopefully that was helpful.